Hey random stranger! So we're going to be listening to a track that was mentioned by OJ and it is entitled In the Blood. It's actually on the soundtrack for Hades, which is a game that I haven't played personally, but I have watched someone play it, so I do have an idea of what it's about. Although even if you didn't, you could probably tell just from the title of the game. So here we go. Those cellos are really biting into that string. It definitely gives off a very brooding, kind of determined mood. I loved how they added the trills of some woodwinds and brass in there to build up that tension, and then we drop back down in this first verse. That was cool. Brass. Oh, it's a duet. Oh, yep. Okay. It's so interesting that, so they're harmonizing in thirds, like the vocals, but it's the guy who's singing the top part. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely highlights or reinforces the very chilling feeling. What was that? Yeah, it was interesting that with the guy singing the top part of the harmonization in that sort of falsetto voice, it definitely enhances the chilling feeling of the piece. I just want to go back to that key change. Yeah, it definitely sounds like a major key change. Oh, but then we're back in the C minor here. There's a definite shift there. Yeah, also this is it's definitely in Phrygian dominant mode. So what people call the Arabic scale. It definitely puts you in the mood of like ancient mythology and blood and revenge and tragedy. I'm also noticing a lot of these different bowing techniques, which is interesting. Oh, I love that slide. The lightness of that xylophone really accentuates the introspection of this part. Oh, this is so creepy. I love it. That was the perfect part to reintroduce that heavy brass, like the boom, 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 boom. Oh my god. The way the vocals meld with the instruments is so perfect. It's like the vocals here are like just really smooth and like draggy, while the instruments were just very bum, 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 very broken up and accentuating the beats. That was fascinating. First impressions, it's just a super well orchestrated piece. The choices of what instruments to use, when to use them, what techniques to use them with, and also how all of those instruments meld with what the vocals are doing. All of that was just meticulously chosen to create one unified feeling of, well, what was the emotional feeling of the song? It's just tragedy, like a real sense of anticipation, buttloads of tension, and just solemn and subtle sense of epicness that's just waiting to be sprung. Another thing that contributed to the tension or the emotional weightiness of the song was the use of the Phrygian mode. For cultural reasons, like our ears just latch onto that scale and associate it with a sense of foreboding. Other names for it is like the Arabic scale. It's a great scale to use for like Greek tragedy, you know, this unshakable sense that shit's gonna go down. And that is why heavy metal uses the Phrygian mode a lot. It's intense. Yet another thing I think that added to that sense of anticipation is the fact that we are constantly in the bass sitting on that C minor chord, like the one chord. It's just always going boom, 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 especially in the verses. And because in the bass, we're not going anywhere, it contrasts really well with the movement, the constant movement of the melody up and down that Phrygian scale. The contrast between those two is what creates that tension. It's also because like the vocal lines, they're very dragged out, like da, 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 constant draggy outedness paired with that boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it definitely creates that sense of almost like you're pumping up this big balloon and you're just kind of like waiting for it to pop. Fourth thing, I don't remember, but what stuck out to me was all of the different bowing techniques. String person, so I'm going to focus on the strings. There was legato, obviously, like the smooth, long bowings. But there's also spiccato, like when you bounce the bow off the string. There was tremolo. It's like when you just really rapidly play and it creates a sense of tension again. There was also the beginning part where you have the cello not quite chopping at the string, but definitely biting into it more than usual and bouncing off the part that's closer to the frog of the bow. It's so cool how they used all those different bowing techniques to change the emotional contours of the piece. Like sometimes we forget that you can create interesting emotional arcs in a song by varying the textures of the instrumentation. So I thought that was really impressive. So yeah, thanks OJ for recommending this piece. I can see why it made an impression. It's a great example of a piece that brings together all of the different elements of music and coheres it in such a way as to create an overall sense of emotion, the emotion being just tension-filled anticipation and just waiting for the hammer to drop. So yeah, I thought it was really cool.